Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sophia and I work in film and TV as a freelancer, and I'm obsessed with all things personal finance. I haven't had the chance to post for a few weeks, so I thought I would bring things back to a payday routine, and we're going to go through all the things that I do when I get paid. And at the moment I'm working on a job where I'm getting paid weekly, which is amazing, and these are all the steps that I take every time I get paid to make sure that I am investing enough, saving enough, and putting enough money aside for all my bills and expenses that I have. First things first, just a little disclaimer here. Everything that I'm sharing is just for entertainment and educational purposes only, and this is not financial advice. For a little bit of context about me, I am currently 28 years old. I'm turning 29 in a couple of weeks, which is insane to think it's going to be the last year, of my 20s. I am a freelancer, as I mentioned, and I have been doing film and TV work for the past 6 years. So I'm very much a contractor. I will work on a project, for a few months at a time, and then I'll move on to a new project. So I have a very variable income, but when I am on a contract, it is somewhat of a consistent paycheck. Sometimes we do work overtime, which is amazing, as you'll see in this paycheck video. I did end up working 6 days, which obviously gets you more money, but all in all, it is a relatively consistent amount, which I absolutely love. I do actually have to work away from home, so because of that, we receive per diems, which is a part of my weekly paycheck, which is to cover any sort of food expenses that you aren't supplied when you're working away from home, which is amazing. I always use these to my advantage. I use them to cover all my grocery bills, to buy any food out, but I also end up putting a lot of this into savings and investments, because it is essentially extra money that you wouldn't get if you were, working at home or working in the city that you currently live. So we love that. One thing about me is I put absolutely everything into my budgeting spreadsheet. So I will bring it up on the screen when we're going through what I do with my money every time I get paid. I will put the link for this spreadsheet down below. It's an affiliate link to the creator's website. They shared this with me and I have been using it for, I think since 2023 was the first year that I started using this spreadsheet, and I absolutely love it. I've just, reused it year after year. And this is their newer version that they sent me, which is amazing. And I did originally pay for the original version, but since then they did send me the new version, which is really exciting. So I absolutely love it. I'll put it up on the screen at the moment, because you will be able to sort of see what you have to input. This is a yearly spreadsheet. So on their website, you'll see there's sort of monthly options, annual options. This is the annual option, and I absolutely love it. It tracks everything. If you are a numbers nerd like me when it comes to your finances, I feel like this spreadsheet is a really good way to, capture all the information that you want to help project in the future and understand where your money's going. So you'll see, you pop in all the information, all the sorts of payments and bills that you might have, and then you go in and log any of your expenses, savings, income, bills, all of those sorts of things. They each have categories, and I can also write little notes next to them so that I can remember, what that sort of expense went towards. You will also get the yearly overview, so you'll get to see how your year's looking, what your top categories were when it came to spending. So as you can see, at the moment, mine is my investments and my savings towards my house account and then my rent. So it's looking pretty normal for me when it comes to my spending, and it really just gives a great breakdown of income, bills, everything. So I use this to really track everything that I'm spending as the month goes on. So when we come into February, which is our current month, you can sort of see the layout of how the month looks when you're in this monthly view. So I'll just make it a bit smaller so that you can see everything. So you can really see, it just has a breakdown of all the expenses and income that you had that month, little notes if you put them there. And all in all, it is genuinely amazing. They even have tabs down here which take you to your you know, savings trackers, your debt, if you have any debt that you need to, you know, work on. It has net worth tracking. It has genuinely everything that you might end up needing when it comes to tracking your money. So before I dive into all of the nitty-gritty numbers of the most recent paycheck I had, I thought I would just give you a quick little overview of my philosophy when it comes to money, my goals for the future, and the mindset around how I treat my money every time it comes into my bank account. So as you would know, if you have seen other videos of mine, I am someone who is constantly trying to build and maintain my wealth. I would love to be able to have, you know, work options in my 40s, or look at early retirement in, you know, if I wanted to, or at least have the option to. I am definitely someone who has built my financial knowledge mostly myself by listening to podcasts, reading articles, watching YouTube videos, and just absorbing as much information as I can myself. And it genuinely interests me, it fascinates me, and I really love to see all of the numbers and to understand where my money's going and be the best sort of steward of my finances and my money, and put it in, you know, places that are going to benefit my future without living too frugally. I do still go on holidays, I still go out for, you know, food, I buy coffees, I do all the things that bring me joy, but what also brings me joy is putting my money into places like investments and savings and things that are going to build myself a very comfortable future. So the first thing that I do when my payslip hits my email address is I will check my payslip. I will make sure that I'm getting paid the right amount, taxed the right amount. Sometimes I've worked on jobs before where they've accidentally taxed my per diems, and I've had to go to the accountant and say, hey, just double checking that, you know, our per diem should be taxed, etc., etc. So I really like to interrogate my payslip, make sure that I'm getting paid any overtime that I worked, making sure that I'm getting any of the allowances that I'm meant to have, because simple mistakes can happen. It's never an intentional mistake, but it's good to, when you're one of many people that are getting paid in that week's pay run, it's good to just do the due diligence yourself and check that you're getting paid the right amount. Something I also really like to use is the pay calculator website. This, especially if you're in Australia, this is extremely accurate when it comes for you know, making sure that you're getting paid the right amount. I've got it up on the screen. You'll be able to see that you can go on this website, put in, you know, a salary, and then you will be able to scroll down and see what your take-home pay is, what you should be getting taxed if you have a HEC stat versus if you don't have a HEC stat, what your superannuation pay should be monthly or yearly, or even fortnightly or weekly, depending on when you get paid. And you will be able to have a really clear picture and understanding of how much you should be getting every time you get your paycheck. So I find this super helpful every time I start a new job. It helps me to set up my monthly spreadsheet of, you know, the projection of how much I will earn for that month. Going into my first paycheck, I will always firstly, you know, pop all the numbers into my log. So when I get paid, I will pop in my income, my per diems, and my tax. I do track my tax as income in my spreadsheet. So at the end of the year, I can see the gross amount. So for the most recent paycheck I got $610.96 in per diem. So I work an office-based job, so I get all of my per diems because no food is supplied for me. And then I got taxed $1,186, so quite a significant amount to get taxed. And this is mostly because there was that six work day added to my pay. So the tax rate just, you know, obviously taxed on a higher amount. My income, so my take home pay, the net pay that I received was $2,001.23, which is awesome. And that included $897.23 in overtime. So very much grateful to, you know, get paid overtime and to be able to have the, you know, option or ability to make a little bit more than what my take home normal salary per week is. So that was amazing. And then as soon as I get paid, I will put, like, as soon as the money hits my bank account, I will transfer that into another account, and I will start to divide it into my sinking funds. Now, if you're not aware of what sinking funds are, they're essentially just pots of accounts within your one bank account. I have many different accounts. I have one for rent and bills, I have one for car expenses, Christmas and presents. I have a sinking fund for personal care if I'm getting a haircut or getting my eyebrows done or anything like that. I have one for holidays. So I like to split my money up into these little pots so that I know how I'm tracking with the overall lump sum of money and where my money is allocated. So every single dollar has a allocation and a purpose for where it's going and what sort of expense I am going to be using that for in the future. So sinking funds are a game changer. If your bank allows you to set this up, I would highly recommend it. It is absolutely amazing. So once I have transferred it into the bank account that allows me to do all of the sinking funds, I will firstly focus on my necessities. So what I like to do when I get paid per diems, if I'm on a job that's getting per diems, I will transfer that into a specific groceries / per diems sinking fund. So I will put the full $610 across into that account, and so that will just gradually build up, and when there's a solid amount in there, I will invest $1,000. I will put it towards a house account, and I will also pull out of that sinking fund anytime I have to buy groceries. If I go out to eat, if I buy a coffee, I will use that money because that is what it is designated for. It's not a requirement to spend your money on that, but I just really like to track where that money is going and also try to put it into investments or something that is going to benefit me later down the line when I'm not receiving per diems, because obviously I don't always have to work away from home. So when I am on a job with this, I really like to make the most of it. I then like to put a good amount into my rent and bills sinking fund. So this week, for example, I put $400 into my rent and bills account. So that was, taken out of my take-home pay. So we're left with about $1,600 left. And then I put in $250 into my holiday sinking fund. I put $150 into my shopping sinking fund because I've been buying things lately. So I just like to top that up if I, have pulled out of it for anything. I put $100 towards my boyfriend's 30th birthday sinking fund, which I started, I think, in November last year or a little bit earlier. I've started putting money away for my boyfriend's 30th because I just think it would be nice to have a little buffer there in case I, decide I want to do something bigger or we want to go on a trip or something for his birthday. So we'll see. I put $500 towards my house account. So this is for a house deposit, and I actually hit an achievement in that account, and I did hit my $60,000 saved in that account. That is in a high interest savings account. So while it's sitting there waiting for the right opportunity to buy a house to come up, it is earning interest, which is awesome. So that was very exciting. I've bumped up the next goal to be reaching $65,000, which is, I set that to, complete that goal by maybe like August. So we'll see how we go with that. But yeah, we might, buy something in the meantime, but it's good to just keep adding to it. So yeah, and then I put $100 towards Christmas and gifts because it is, well, it's my birthday coming up. I have a twin sister, so I need to buy her a present. And I also have a wedding next weekend, so I need to buy them a gift as well. So those were essentially where my money went. I do still have a little bit of money sitting in my account, and I might end up putting, $200 towards investments. So for the month of February, as you can see from my spreadsheet on the screen, I have already overshot my goal of saving into my house account, which is amazing. And I have already invested $3,000 this month, and $1,000 of that, or $2,000 of that, I can't quite remember, was from my per diems banking up. And so I just they banked up to like $5,000. So I put a bunch of that into investments because there's not really much point in that much sitting there for groceries, because I'm not spending that much on groceries in, you know, a shorter amount of time. I've put $700 in total this month towards my holiday sinking fund, and then a few other sinking funds I've either hit my goal or I will need to put into there next time I get paid next week. So that's where I'm at for those sorts of savings. And when we come over to my expenses, as you can see, I'm pretty much on par with, you know, what I should be spending my money on for the month, which is awesome. I do think, you know, lately I have been spending quite a lot on groceries because I am having to, you know, have breakfast, lunch, dinner all by myself. I'm not like at home with my boyfriend where we share the load on, you know, getting groceries and stuff like that. So it is all me. So I am spending a fair bit on groceries. We are only halfway through the month, which is crazy. But alas, and I have eaten out, that will go up because I did eat out last night. And I'm not sure how much it is, but I might end up hitting my goal or my limit for the month after this weekend. So yeah, and then shopping, I have spent a little bit on shopping as well this month. But overall, we're looking okay when it comes to my expenses. There's nothing too crazy there. And there's also nothing too crazy in my bills. I obviously track these and keep tabs on, you know, any big bills that are coming up for the month. For example, my sinking funds will go towards a big bill. Like I have a car insurance sinking fund. So every year when that bill comes up, I pay annually and I save up throughout the year to go towards that bill. So I'm always prepared for those bigger bills, which is awesome. In February, it's looking like I will hopefully have about $13,223 in income, and that obviously includes tax as well. So, you know, that's gross, so I won't take all of that home. Which is quite good. I'm very happy with that. And in terms of expenses, I think my planned expenses will be close to $3,000, which to be honest is quite average for me at the moment after reflecting on last year, which is really helpful to track this year on year. You can really see what the trends are with your own spending and be very realistic about where you're spending your money and, you know, knowing exactly how much you actually truly need month to month to live on the bare expenses. So I think the beauty of using this routine every time that money hits your bank account is you are paying yourself first. You're putting your money towards goals that you have, investments that you want to reach, or, you know, savings goals that you have, and making sure that your money is working for you so that as the week goes on or fortnight, you know, however frequently you get paid, you know that all your necessities are covered. I know that my bills are covered because I've put money aside into that account to make sure that every time I get that bill, I can just pull it straight out of there and it's covered. So sinking funds are definitely key to, you know, having a very smooth payday routine, and also, you know, having a budgeting spreadsheet where you can actually track where you're hitting with your expenses and with your savings goals. For example, not having to invest as much this week meant that I could reallocate that money towards my house savings account and could, you know, try to hit that goal a little bit sooner. So it's all very dynamic. This isn't a set in stone method that I use week to week. It is always ever changing in the amounts that I put into different accounts. It is very intuitive for me. I've been doing this for so many years now that I can just, you know, sort of allocate how I feel will fit for the next, you know, couple weeks ahead. And I really try to just put money in places to continue to support my future self and make sure that I'm always covered for everything that I might need. Now, honestly, at the moment, I feel very grateful that I can even have a payday routine, because as a freelancer, it is quite common to, you know, have periods of time where I don't have a paycheck or I'm not working, which is genuinely really hard. And I do sometimes envy people that just have a 9-to-5 where they're on a salary for the year and it's just the same paycheck every year. They can automate things and make it very simple. Whereas for me, I have never been able to automate things. I've always had to do it manually because I am not always getting paid weekly. I'm sometimes, you know, between work. But when I am on a job and I am getting paid weekly and being able to, you know, divvy up my income each week, it feels very satisfying to have a routine that I can stick to, but I do still do it manually because it honestly brings me joy to, you know, put money away and put it towards things that I am trying to achieve or goals that I'm trying to hit. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found some of it useful and maybe use some of these tips going forward for your payday routines. As I mentioned, there is the link below for the spreadsheet that I have shared today. It is genuinely amazing and it has been such a saving grace throughout my financial journey thus far. I will be posting more videos hopefully, and I will speak to you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye.